Fueled by Deathcast.
Right now, you are the currently the offensive line coach for the University of Albany, correct?
Correct.
How long? When did you start that position?
This will be my 6th season. Coaching, more like 16 years. I did some high school. I did Duquesne University when I first retired from the NFL. But the head coach, which was Greg Gattuso, went on to Pitt in Maryland, and I was raising kids, so I didn't have time to do it as a full-time. So I did local high schools for about 10 years, and I also trained guys getting ready for the NFL draft.
Oh, wow. And now you're coaching college, and I read in an interview with you, I believe it was recent, you were talking about how when the idea of coaching came into your head, you always thought about college. You never wanted to really coach NFL. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed college. NFL's a different game now. It's a different animal. I like to coach kids to get them to that next level, see if we can get someone to the NFL. That, to me, would be more rewarding. I mean, it would be fun to coach the top offensive lineman in America. I mean, I've helped guys get there. Mm-hmm. I helped them a little bit. They were already going to be there. I just helped them a little bit. Most of those guys are retired now. That's how long ago I did it. But, I mean, I just like college. I mean, to get a young man to look at you as a mentor, as a father figure, as a coach, and they feed on every word that you say. I mean, that's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Do you draw from any coaches, like any practices that you observed either in the NFL or when you were in college?
I mean, I have a whole list of coaches that, I pick and choose from each one of them. There are things I agreed with. There were things that I didn't agree with, but I still value their opinions. It just reiterates what I'm trying to do. And, I mean, my college coaches, they have a national award named after them, Joe Moore Award, that they give out to the top offensive line in America. Wow. That was my college coach. My high school coach, Coach O'Neill, texts me every game. He texts me birthdays. He just texted me the other day. I had a friend. We played when we were in high school. I grew up with a guy named Glenn Streno as well, who played at the University of Tennessee. He ended up being a center there as well. Well, they do this countdown by numbers, and his number was also 53, so that for 53 days out from the season, they highlighted Glenn. So I just actually texted Glenn this morning, but I originally got it from my high school line coach. So, I mean, I've had great coaches all through my career, grade school, high school, college. My first pro coach was Jim Ringo, who was a Hall of Famer from the Green Bay Packers. Dan Radakovich, who was the architect of the Steelers line, was one of my coaches. Larry Bechtel was probably my favorite coach just because I could mess with him the most. He was about 5'6", round, and he had yellow teeth. So, but no, I love Larry, and I still talk to him. So I've had a whole list. Howard Mudd, who's pretty well known around the NFL, he was one of my coaches. So, I mean, I've been blessed with a lot of great coaches. Players as well. I learned a lot from players. A gentleman by the name of Joe Fields took me under his wing when I was a rookie with the Jets and taught me a lot about how to play the game as well. And, and I got to pass that on to – it's sort of neat that a guy that I played with in Seattle, Kevin Mawai, is being inducted to the Hall of Fame August 3rd. So
that's excellent.
I sort of took him under my wing, and what Joe Fields did with me, I did with Kevin. Even though it was just 1 year, I mean, he still gives me a lot of credit.
Ray Donaldson, Jim Sweeney, Howard Ballard, and Eugene Robinson, you taught me how to be professionals as a young player.
That's so cool. And I read a recent article actually from the University of Albany where you said something that really stuck with me, is where you deal with your players like they're in the NFL.
Correct.
And you coach them that way. And I think that is so important when you're talking about, melding young men into, making them football players. Why not deal with them like they're the professionals right now?
I mean, why would you teach them something that's not the way it should be? I mean, I have my way. I mean, like I said, I got to pick and choose from a lot of great coaches, put my own spin on it, and try to teach it the way I want, do it the way I did as a player. Be honest with you, when I coached my son's Pop Warner team, I actually taught those guys. I wouldn't teach them bad habits. Why would you want to teach someone a bad habit that they're going to have to break eventually?
Yeah.
My biggest concern always is safety. So I try to teach the game from a safety aspect. The way I teach it, it might be a little old school, but I think it's the safest way to do it.
Yeah, like you said, and I think that's really important, is, you know, in any sport, if you learn something not the way that it's going to be when you hit that professional level, then you 100% have to change, and that is a detriment to your game. That's a detriment to the team that you're on. Like,
it may be too late too, where you don't have time to change it. When you get to the NFL, I mean, every year they're bringing in players to replace you as well.
Right.